It's recording.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kathleen Cannon. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I'm here with my friend Laura today, who's a health coach, and we are making elderberry syrup. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Kathleen, how's it going over there?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Yep. All ready to make some elderberry syrup. I have a bunch of people waiting for a fresh supply.
This is a perfect time of year for it. And I know a lot of my patients love having elderberry syrup. If they don't take it daily, they will use it regularly, and especially if they start to feel some sniffles or a sore throat. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, some of the health benefits as we get going. But elderberry syrup takes a little while to cook, so we want to get started with it. And I'm actually making the elderberry syrup the traditional way, where it has to simmer and then steep for quite a while. And Laura's going to make it in an insta-pot, so it's going to be faster. So she's going to walk us through her way of making it first, because it's going to be faster, and then my berries will be finished and ready to go when hers are done.
All right, well, I'm going to get started so I can get mine cooking. All right, so I already put 2 cups of water in my Instapot. And I'm going to put a cup of elderberries in. And I'm not sure, I'm going to add a couple other things to mine. So I'm going to add 3 sticks of cinnamon, 2 tablespoons of chopped ginger, and 10 cloves.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, a lot of anti-inflammatory and lots of good health benefits. So I'm just gonna close this, and then we
And my dog just heard your beeping, so she's you might hear her bark.
And she what?
She heard the beeping of the Instapot, and she's not a fan of the beeps.
Oh. So I'm just putting it on pressure, and I'm putting it on 7 minutes. So like I said, I just put the ingredients in with the water, pressing start, and we'll just wait. Is yours almost done?
Yeah, so mine actually, you can see the timer, it has 8 minutes. I don't know if you can see the timer, but it has 8 minutes left to steep, but it can steep longer than that. And so the way that I made mine is kind of similar to the proportion wise and what you put in yours. So I have this small little pot here that I'm using, and I used 1 cup of the dried elderberries and then 2 cups of water. I used water that I filter, so I didn't use just water right from the faucet, because it's going to be like a medicinal syrup, right? So if your tap water isn't the best, you might want to use a filtered water, or a distilled water, something like that.
I have well water, so
nice. Well water. Yeah.
I tested.
What?
I said I've had it tested. It's good water.
That's the best. And then I also added ginger to mine. I didn't add the cinnamon or the cloves. I'm a little sensitive to cinnamon, so I left that out, although I do like the aroma that comes with that. But I love the ginger with the elderberry, because the ginger has also got some really nice medicinal properties. You know, we're using a really small amount, so it's not like we're getting a big boost of it, but it's a warming herb, so it goes nice with the elderberry, just in terms of stimulating a little bit of action in the body with the immune system. On that note, you know, all this information we're talking about is not medical advice, but we're going to share some of the great health benefits of elderberries too. So basically what I did for this preparation, it's the traditional way. It takes a little bit longer, but it's super simple. And it's basically the elderberries and the water, and then the ginger and whatever other herbs you want to add. You can add other things too to add some flavor, cardamom, or excuse me, or even cumin, or some different, you know, earthier flavors. Sometimes I'll add some adaptogenic herbs also, but that really depends on what you're feeling. So anyway, elderberries, water, and herbs, and then they come to a boil in your pot. And then once they're boiling, you want to let it simmer for about half an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer. I actually was not paying close attention, and mine boiled over. It started to boil over. So I heard it boiling over. So I ran over. So it's a little messy here. There's some dried elderberry liquid on the stove. I tried to clean it up, but it got a little bit messy because I wasn't paying attention, and it came to a boil pretty quickly. So then I just let it simmer, turned it down, let it simmer for about half an hour, and then I took it off the heat and just let it sit for about an hour. So all in, that's like, a little bit, like close to 2 hours, let's say. And so it's been sitting, and it's got 5 minutes left to sit before it's ready to do our next step. And our next step is going to be pretty similar once we're done. So should we talk about some of the health benefits with the elderberry?
Well, yeah, we can do that. And then I was also going to say too, like, what steps are you going to do next? Like, are you putting anything else in your elderberry syrup after? Like, I know I have some honey that I'll put in after, and then actually mine's going to be the alcoholic version, just so I know that it will last a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna add some honey also. Sometimes I'll just leave it plain without adding anything, or sometimes I'll set some aside without adding anything, and then I'll add like honey to some of it. And so the difference is there. And Laura, I'd be curious your thoughts on this too, but I kind of like it just plain without the added sugar, but the sugar helps to keep it preserved so that it lasts longer. So you do want to store this in the fridge, however you make it. It's a good idea to store it in the fridge just to keep it fresh. So if you're not adding anything at all to it, and you just have like the elderberry liquid really, in that case, you want to drink it and enjoy it pretty quickly. When I've made it that way, I've actually made like a larger batch and made it into a drink that I've had, like I had it at a party once, or I'd have it, kind of for family or whatever it is, but you want to drink it quickly. So you could mix it, like I mixed it with some mineral water and some like slices of blood orange. And I think there were some berries in there. So it was like a yummy combination. And I may have put a little drizzle of something else in. But it was pretty good. And then some people spiked it with like vodka or something. So it can be kind of a fun mixer that way too. So you can be kind of creative with this. It's got some nice health benefits, but you can also make it appealing to more people potentially. But then the form of it with honey, the honey acts as a natural preservative because it's got the sugar content. So that will help it to stay fresh longer, but you still want to store it in the fridge, really.
Yeah, I always store mine in the fridge for sure. And I would say too, I did get some local honey too. That's always important to get local honey as opposed to grocery store, I guess, not knowing where it came from.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us more about the local honey? I love local honey too.
I don't know exactly what to say about it, but this one is in Hanover, Connecticut. I got it at Fiddleheads and wildflower. So I know it's good for like if you have allergies too. If like, if you take a local honey, it's not good to help fight against allergies. I don't actually have allergies, but you have some, don't you?
Yeah, I have like kind of minimal seasonal allergies at this point, but it can be helpful because it can kind of like desensitize your body a little bit to having that allergic response. And I have my local honey here is actually from Rhode Island. I got this as a holiday gift, so this is the perfect time to use it because it's in like a nice pourable form too. Sometimes the honey that I have in the pantry will get really hard and more challenging to pour out into things. So I'm excited for this one. It looks very easy to pour. To add.
I was gonna say that's what happened to the honey. I have some more local honey, but it turned more into like a honey cream. So it will be great to spread on toast, but not great. Well, I mean, it would have melted, but I like it when it turns that way, so it's all good.
No, I love the honeys, and that's what makes this a syrup really, is having the honey in it. Otherwise, without the honey, it's like the elderberry liquid that I enjoy, but the honey is what makes it a syrup. And honey has some really nice properties. It actually can potentially, for some people, support the production of melatonin. So it can potentially be a nice little treat in the evening, although you do want to be careful with the sugar content. So there's always different nuances to think about, but honey has a lot of really nice properties. Thank you.
But sometimes we'll take the elderberry syrup and put it in a little hot water at night, kind of like a little elderberry tea, so kind of that evening.
That sounds
I
really
put it in kombucha too, like to give it a little more flavor.
Yeah. And you said you're using brandy in yours?
I actually have, I usually do use brandy, but I have some whiskey that was given to us for Christmas, and we're not whiskey drinkers, so I tend to use it in my, in my tinctures or in elderberry syrup. So it serves the same purpose. It has a similar taste, and you're not really drinking that much of it at one time. So
yeah. And so my timer went off, but it's fine to sit for however long until.
why don't we? Yeah, let's go for it. Make the next step. What are you going to do now? Are you going to strain it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna strain it. So I'm doing so I don't have a ton of like kitchen essentials in my apartment here. So I'm using, this is super simple. I'm using a colander, like a fine mesh colander, and then I just have this glass bowl here. And so I'm going to I'm gonna pour the elderberries, into the colander and then let them soak through. And then I'm gonna kind of push more juice out after they're in the colander. And so are you using like a cheesecloth or a mesh or something?
I have that. I was just going to use I have a strainer too that fits into the insta-pot.
Oh, nice.
I was either going to do that, or I have a bag also. I'll grab it.
So while Laura's getting that, if you have you can do this different ways, but if there's like a cheesecloth or like any type of cloth that is going to allow the liquid to come through and keep the berries in, that can be really nice. And you can find that type of cloth in some kitchen supply stores. But with the cloth, it would allow you to strain liquid and then to squeeze really well, to squeeze all the juice out. Okay, and this, I'm just gonna try to bring this over to show you what it looks like, although I don't know that you can really see this. So basically looks like some dark liquid in here. And it smells pretty good. It smells really good. It smells like the elderberries when it's cooking, and it's cooked over an hour ago now, so I don't really smell that as much, but this has a really nice smell. It's not super strong, only because I didn't add a ton of stuff to it. Did you find your bag?
I did not find my bag, so I'm just going to be squishing it with that. I have a cloth I can use. It's not the one I was looking for, but it will work. So I have time. What are you gonna do with yours? Are you gonna do it now?
So I could just go ahead and do it. Want me to go ahead and do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so and now you'll see the berries. I don't know if I can get out of the way here. You know what, my dog is right here. Let me just move her.
You don't want her to become purple?
I don't want her to become purple. Although I did wear this outfit. I've got a purple shirt on and a purple vest from my grandma. I wore this in case I spilled anything, and also in honor, in alignment with the elderberries.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing, so see. Too funny.
It's fun when that happens. All right, so here we go. So I'm just pouring, and then there's the berries, and Oh, a few berries made it into the liquid. That's okay. I will pull them out later. And so I'm just going to scrape some of the berries out of the pan. And when you get dried elderberries, they will usually have like little bits of like twigs or like nature pieces in them. That's totally fine. It's just because, you know, they're a natural thing. I would recommend, if you can, get the organic dried berries, just because berries do tend to pick up more chemicals and things that we don't want in the body. And because we're concentrating this into a syrup, if you can get organic, that makes it really even better. So you're not putting any icky stuff in your body. All right, so I have the berries in here.
Okay.
The liquid down below. So I'm gonna let them sit here, and then I'm just gonna kind of gently push on them a little bit. What's your next step there?
Well, it just got up to the pressure to do the 7 minutes of cooking.
Oh,
So I have to wait for the 7 minutes. And then when we're done, I'll take the top off and I'll just put it on saute, just so I can like take the lid off and let it like steam a little bit, or let some of the liquid out so it can boil down a bit. And once it cools a little bit, then I'll put the honey in and then the alcohol.
nice. So what's like your favorite way to use the elderberry syrup?
Well, I guess if I don't put the whiskey in it and I really boil it down, I do use it, like, I've given it to people for like medicinally, but they've used it for pancakes. That always, you know, but I just like putting it in a little glass. I have a fun glass I'll show you. And like, was my like grandmother's. See, see the little crystal glass, and it's tiny. And then I'll put a little elderberry in there, and it'll be kind of like my little healthy either morning or nightcap. If it has alcohol in it, I usually wait until the evening.
That's beautiful. Aww. And you know, you probably already know this, but if you if you had the elderberry with the alcohol in it and you added it to like a mug and then poured some boiling water over it, it can steam off a lot of the alcohol. So,
Yes.
no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I either do it straight up in my nice little glass, or like you said, with the hot water and make a tea. That's really nice, especially on a cold winter's night next to the wood stove with the snow falling.
Cozy. So elderberry is really, really popular. Like you see this in like drugstores and grocery stores. It's like, it's all over the place these days, because it's so popular and because the syrup, it tastes pretty good. So kids will like it. So really any age can use it, except for, you know, if a child's under 1, you don't want to give them honey. So you want to make sure not to give, if there's honey in the syrup, not to give it to anyone younger than 1. And obviously alcohol, you know, don't give that to kids unless you boil it off or something. Yeah, but this is great for all ages other than that. And it's, you know, it's been used for so long in herbal medicine, the elderberry, but it's become so popular now, just even almost mainstream, I guess, just because it's so effective, but gentle and tolerated well. Yeah.
You get some little forms of gummy bears, and I got some agar instead of regular gelatin to make little gummy bears. So that's another way, a fun way to get your elderberry syrup in.
Awesome. I love that. And so I'm just continuing to squish the berries here.
Okay.
And so I'll mention a little bit of the health benefits of elderberry, and maybe we can both just chat about it. But you know, elderberry has some really nice antiviral properties. So it's been shown to be most effective against the cold, really. And then also somewhat against the flu too. And then, you know, the cold and the flu, they're kind of like, there's some vague symptoms, overlapping symptoms and things. So elderberries really, it can be supportive for a lot of that wintertime stuff, like, you know, the sore throat, the sniffles, runny nose. If you get, even if you're like feeling congested, this can be a nice support. And then if you're getting, you know, kind of chesty stuff, it can be really nice. And, you know, fevers, coughs, all that upper respiratory stuff. The elderberry can help support your immune response. It can stimulate some of the immune signaling pathways, things like interleukins, tumor necrosis factor, which, you know, those tell your immune system to do some more action. And then they also kind of, the elderberry also kind of can be antiviral itself. So really, really nice. Were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was just listening. I was like, all good info.
Yeah, and there haven't been a ton of studies done on plant medicine all the time. You know, there's a lot of plants that we know have medicinal properties that haven't been really thoroughly studied and researched, but elderberry has had more research than a lot of other herbal medicines because it's so widely used. And so the research does show that elderberry can reduce both the length of time someone is sick with a cold, but also the intensity or severity of their symptoms. So really cool. And there was a study done in Norway like 20 years ago or so, and they found that elderberry syrup shortened the duration of their colds. This was placebo controlled, randomized, a really nice study. It was small, but it showed that it shortened the duration of the cold by about 4 days, compared to the placebo group, which is pretty nice. And then a larger, more recent study showed that the elderberry concentrate helped to reduce the cold by a couple of days and to reduce the intensity of the symptoms, which is really great. And that was a larger randomized controlled, you know, double-blind, placebo, all that, really good study. So some really nice research on elderberry syrup and the health benefits. Yeah, and elderberry, to mention one real quick, they're not really they're not an expensive berry to buy. If you buy them dried, you get a lot of them, and they're not too expensive. It's much more cost effective actually if you make your own. But you can also, if you buy the syrup, it's not super expensive. Although you will pay more than making your own. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, so mine finished, so I'm gonna like cancel, and I'm gonna like get the steam out, so I have to push this button.
Ooh. Is that the steam from the Insta-pot?
What?
Is that the steam?
If we weren't doing it within a time period, I probably would have let it like just sit. It's called like a natural release, and the pressure would just come down on its own as the temperature got cooler. But it's totally fine. Like push the button right away and let the steam out. I just can't open it until the pressure goes down.
And so with my colanders, I'm just pressing here. I'm just also tilting it a little bit because sometimes there can be liquid like between the berries. So just trying to get all that goodness, all that concentrated elderberry goodness out of the berries. And the longer that you let them sit in the water, really, so the longer they are steeping, the more you're going to extract from the berry, right? So the more health benefit you'll get from it. When you simmer it, you do want to keep it covered also, like this traditional way here. You want to keep it covered so that it keeps the aromatics in, and it also just kind of gets it nice and more concentrated, you know, keeping the heat in there so that more can be pulled out. All right. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, I'm just gonna let it like steam off a little bit, and then I'll turn it off, let it cool.
And I'm just feeling mine here. It's still warm, but it's not hot. And so, like Laura, like you mentioned before, it is good to wait until the elderberry liquid is cooler to add the honey, so that you're not, you know, losing any of the properties of the honey. The heat can change it a little bit. I have this old syrup jar. It's not that old, but I like the size of it and like the shape for pouring syrup out. So I'm going to use this to put this in. And here's what the elderberries, you showed yours before when you were pouring them in, but here's what they look like. Oh yeah, that's nicer. They're tiny little berries. They're very small dried, much smaller than like most other berries. If you've had wild blueberries, I think these are even smaller than those. They're really small.
Yeah, they're almost like currant size.
Yeah, and you don't want to eat these raw though. That can make you sick. Don't eat them raw. Whereas like, you know, other berries, if they're dried, you could eat them. Like blueberries, you know, raspberries, mulberries, you can eat those, but don't eat raw elderberries. You need to cook them. It's not gonna go well if you eat them. You're gonna get sick.
Do you know anyone that has any elderberry bushes locally?
No, I don't. That would be really, really cool though, because they do grow in this climate. Maybe we could get one at the store, at the nursery.
Yeah, I feel like I have a couple friends that have some elderberry, and there might be some. Yeah. There's some around, I'm sure. I was looking for them this past summer. I just didn't find any.
Do your friends who have them use them medicinally or to make syrup?
Yeah, no, they do make the syrup. Or I guess yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna turn this off now. Or, I mean, what do you think? Should I let it go a little bit longer?
I mean, whatever you think. I'm not as familiar with the steam situation in the Insta-pot.
I just don't know, like, if you want to wait for it to cool, or I mean, once it like steams off and I let it cool, then I'll be adding the honey and then the alcohol, and then it will be done, and I'll show you the little container that I put mine in.
Nice.
I have some little brown bottles, so when it's really concentrated, like some
Nice.
people can just do the little dropper.
That's awesome. Awesome. You know what, Laura, I'm just thinking, why don't you, so that you get more medicinal like benefit from yours, if you want to, you could just leave yours like to sit longer, and then I can just like kind of do mine on the video here. That way yours can sit longer and you can get more out of it, if you want.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, it's had enough time too, so.
Okay, whatever you think. And so now the pouring part, I do not have like a funnel situation right now.
Oh,
So
you don't?
it's be a little bit challenging. I'm gonna try to figure this out.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I have probably 3 here. I should have delivered one to you.
So look at this. I have stains on my hands too. I have stains on the stove, on my hands, from the elderberry. I have this cute little picture from my bonus grandma also. And so I'm gonna try to pour the syrup in here and then into my syrup container. All right.
I'm actually using a potato masher too, like before I strain it.
Nice. So if you do happen to get any of the berries in here, like I got a couple berries in here, I tried to pull them all out, but try not to ingest those. Try to when you like get them, if you take this by the teaspoon or however you take it, try to pull those out because you don't need to be eating those. And so I just poured my liquid in my little syrup bottle here. So looking at this now, if I was going to add the honey, I would add about half as much honey as I have liquid. So I would probably fill it up to like this little line here. Yeah. Are you on your next step?
I think mine has to cool more before I am ready for the honey.
All right.
I like to do it later.
I'm going to add the honey in a minute.
Okay, awesome.
All right. I love this little jar. I had to cut there's a little string. I had to cut it. But this little jar is so cute. This could be a good elderberry syrup jar in the future.
Yes, it could.
All right, so I'm just gonna pour this honey in as it moves very slowly until we're at the line. And so again, if somebody hasn't had elderberry syrup before, it has a really nice flavor. Like that's why it's so popular with children and families, because people like it. It has a really nice flavor. It's not super strong. It's not bitter. It's not earthy. It's just, it's a berry flavor. And then the honey gives it some extra sweetness. If you're not adding honey, it's not really going to be too sweet, but it's still going to be delicious. And so if you are trying to, like, if you do feel like some sniffly stuff, or like the first sign of feeling under the weather a little bit, if you're using elderberry, a general way to use it is to use 1 teaspoon 3 or 4 times a day. Now, in some of the studies that have been done, they use more than that. And so, you know, it's up to you as to what you use, and, you know, talk with if you have a doctor, a naturopathic doctor, especially, talk with them about it. But, you know, that's kind of a general way to use it. And if you're just using it kind of because it's the season and you want to give your body a little bit of extra antiviral support, you could do like a teaspoon a day or even a tablespoon a day, something along those lines. You don't have to take it as much, really.
How's it looking over there?
So I have that in here now. I'm just giving it a little stir. And then it'll be ready to go in the fridge, I think. And if I was making like multiple batches of this, I'd probably write the date on it so that I know when I made it, so that I know I should stop using it after probably like a few weeks or a month, depending on how much honey, and if I put alcohol in, it'll last longer. But yeah, there it is, the beautiful elderberry syrup.
Oh, beautiful.
Yay.
I have some nice tags that I made last year because I given people elderberry for Christmas, not this year or the year before, but I do have nice tags, so I can share that with you if you want, and make a little sticker and put it on.
That sounds really nice. Thanks.
Yeah, so mine's strained. I could probably squeeze a little bit more if I had my bag or use a cheesecloth or something.
Yeah.
This is pretty good.
Nice.
But I should probably let it cool.
So I guess, if you're thinking about making this for the first time, like all in, it's probably a couple hours if you make it this traditional way. And then if you have an Insta-pot and can make it that way, you can see it's even quicker.
Yeah.
So really, really pretty simple to use, and you don't need a ton of stuff either. You just need the elderberries.
I went to Fiddleheads yesterday and went and got like my organic ginger root and the cloves and the cinnamon sticks.
Nice. Nice. Aw.
Yeah. Are you gonna have a little taste of yours?
Yeah, let's see. Here's my spoon. You know what, let me get a fresh spoon. That's got berries all over it. Sweet. Is yours ready to taste it all?
I mean, I can taste just the elderberry. It won't have honey in it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is actually a nice little miso spoon.
Let's say cheers with our spoons.
Okay.
Cheers.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's not too bad, and it doesn't even have any honey in it yet.
Nice. Mine is a little sweet because of the honey, but really good. But not too sweet. Just a little sweet.
Awesome.
Good. And I actually, in mine, I don't taste the ginger that I added very much, and I probably would add more next time because I didn't I guess add enough to taste it. I know it's still. Do you taste the ginger and the cloves, cinnamon in yours?
Pretty mild.
Yeah.
Like nothing stands out, I would say.
Yeah.
I guess isn't a bad thing. Like it's just kind of balanced.
It's really nice. Yeah. It's really nice. Cool. Well, this was fun.
Do you have if anyone has any questions, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I think we can post the video and there can be comments below. So you can comment if they have questions. Yeah. And there's lots of online resources available too, if anybody needs to quickly look up what were those proportions again. But just to recap, we both used 1 cup of the dried elderberries and 2 cups of water, and then we added the herbs that we wanted.
But we can probably share the quantities of the cinnamon stick and clove and ginger in the comments below as well.
Yeah. My computer needs its battery right now.
Okay, you want to
battery thing up. So this might be a good place to wrap up.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you think we should talk about?
No, I think that's good. Just yeah, we'll just add the ingredients and stuff later. Go plug your phone. Yeah. Go plug your computer in.
Happy
right.
elderberrying.
All right, thanks. Looking forward to mine when it's done.